Dark Souls 3. It's the game that I used to think was an alright game. Now I think it's an absolute masterpiece of a game. I think it's complete artwork. That's how much I love Dark Souls 3. But why? Why do I think that Dark Souls 3 is one of the best games ever made, if not the best game ever made? Well, there are a couple reasons for this. Number one, gameplay. I love the gameplay for this game. It's absolutely amazing what you can do in this game. It's like Bloodborne, but Dark Souls 2 at the same time. I loved Dark Souls 2 combat. It was the first time I ever really loved a combat system in a video game. And then after I got like 3/4 of the way into Dark Souls 2, I decided, hey, I am kind of behind on the craze, let's go play Bloodborne. And then, yeah, this game is just, it's both of those combat systems combined, and it's really one of the best combat systems I've ever experienced. And it has some of the best weapons too, like, it has two of my favorite weapons in the whole game. It's rivaling Bloodborne, and the armor, I thought Dark Souls 2's armor was completely amazing. Nobody could top it. I didn't play this game a lot back then. I beat all the bosses, not including the DLC, because I do not have DLC. I am a poor boy. But yeah, I absolutely love the armor in this game. Like, I remember when I saw the ugly armor, and I thought it looked completely amazing. Like, I was like, wow, look at me, I have a red cape on, wow, look, it's flowing, oh my goodness, wow. But no, then I killed a couple of the bosses, and then realized I got their armor, and I was like, okay, it's Dark Souls 2, it's like Dark Souls 2, but Dark Souls 2 didn't have good looking boss armor. It had good regular looking armor. It's not good boss armor. I'm getting ahead of myself and going into visuals now, but no. Seriously. And also, the armor, stable amount of defense. Like, it's not too much. It's not like Dark Souls 1 where like, oh, you have Havel's armor, you're gonna win. For like the Four Kings or something like that. But not this game. This game, I'm not joking, I use one of the higher strength sets of armor, of course, but it's still not the strongest that I could possibly wear and not fat roll into oblivion. But yeah, I still use it because it looks cool, not because it's good. It is good. It's not the best, but it looks the best. So that's why I use it. But yeah, it's not the point. The point is the gameplay in this part. Sorry, I don't have a script. I forgot it in the other room, and I'm not going into the other room just to get it back. Okay, so anyway, the enemies in this game perfectly balanced in every single area, because when you're playing the game for the first time, you're just like, oh my goodness, look, it's a big enemy, I don't know what I'm gonna do, right? Which, yeah, of course you don't know what you're gonna do. It's a big enemy, you're a first time player. But once you've gone through the game, you can go back through all those areas, like, for example, like, I'm using Fair Keep, not Fair Keep, the area before Fair Keep as an example, because here's the thing about that area. That area has a bunch of tiny, tiny little crabs. Like, the tiniest little cute crabs I've ever seen. Kill them in 2 hits, 2 to 3 hits, maybe 4 if you have a weak weapon at that point. Then you're all good, right? And you're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna walk over here and, oh, well, that's a big crab. But once you've played the game, I say once you beat once you've gotten to, I'd say once you've gotten to Yorm then you can fight most of the enemies that at first you thought, what? How? How am I supposed to be able to beat this thing? But then you're like you actually think about what, to do. And then you are getting better at the combat slowly but surely. And that's not the only thing good about this game's gameplay. It's fun to play. That might sound like, well, I mean, of course, a game has to be fun in order to play it. Have you ever played E.T.? That fun? No, it's not fun. It's not fun. Don't play that game. If you haven't, and you're wondering, I got my Atari 2600, I heard the game was pretty bad, but I need to play it for myself. Don't. I'm saving you a lot of trouble. That's not the point. The point is, the combat system is great, and it's fun to play. Like, imagine, like, the game, it was just the same game, except for one big difference. There's no regular roll, only fat roll. And you move 2 times slower, and you swing 3 times slower. Would that be fun? No, it would not be fun. Like, imagine this game, you wouldn't be able to move while you're drinking Estus. Very important. So, gotta keep that in. But if you couldn't, then the game would slowly start feeling less fun. Imagine no poise system, like no poise. So you're fighting the Havel armor, but nope, guess what? Yep, you just got goofed. Yeah, you have no poise in this game, so yeah, get wrecked. Oh, but can I level up? Yeah, you can, in real life, but in this hypothetical situation, if you wouldn't be able to, the game would be less fun. Of course, I don't have poise on my character, but I'm just saying, other people who like to have it, not to get, just flung around everywhere, all that stuff, it's good for them. It's good for somebody who doesn't want to get annihilated to have poise. So yeah, gameplay is really, really awesome, and I love everything about it. Visuals. This game is absolutely beautiful. Everything about the game is beautiful. Everything about Dark Souls 3, just amazing. It just looks gorgeous. I love the look of Dark Souls 3. I don't know why, because Dark Souls Remastered, I love the look. Dark Souls 2, I love the look. But Dark Souls 3, it's like Bloodborne. It's like a mix between Bloodborne and Dark Souls 2, and it just looks amazing. And I love the visual that's in this game. Like, the armor, it just looks amazing. Every single armor piece looks just fantastic, everything about this game looks beautiful, except for maybe a couple areas. We don't talk about those areas, but they exist. Yeah, I don't like those areas. But yeah, that is not the point. The point is that this game is beautiful. Sure, it may kind of look monochrome. I can't even speak correctly today. It may look monochrome, but something about it makes sense that it would look like that. I don't really know why. It just makes perfect sense that the game would look like that. Take the first area of the game. It looks phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. Everything about it looks amazing. Well, because here's the thing. Sure, it doesn't look the best, but that's kind of the point, really. It's just not trying to make you go, oh my goodness, this looks like the best thing ever. It just makes you go, damn, this place looks nice. That's the point of the area, even though, it's the first area, so you don't want to assault their eyes. No, the last areas are the ones that really look amazing to me. They look totally terrific. Everything about the new, like the last areas looks amazing, like the kiln. Oh my goodness, the kiln, it looks amazing. But that, yeah, about the kiln, it looks perfect for what it's supposed to represent. It's basically a long pathway that leads up to a boss fight. That's it. That's all the kiln is. But that's the point of the kiln. It's like the Throne of Want in Dark Souls 2, which you don't have a clip of. So you're just gonna be stuck with the kiln. But if you've played Dark Souls 2 and you know what the Throne of Want is, you'll know the similarities with it. Because the Throne of Want is like, you know, it's literally a pathway from the king's chamber, not the king's chamber, the castle, whatever it's called, to the boss fight. And the kiln is basically where the first flame is, which is where the boss is, where people went to go in order to get to the first flame, the boss fight. And that is why the kiln is amazing. I love everything about the kiln. Like, what it's supposed to represent, everything. I don't know why I'm talking about the kiln right now. It's not the point. The point is that this game is breathtaking. It just took my breath just then. No, it didn't. But, yeah. It looks absolutely stellar. Everything about, like, the graphics, they look amazing. Sure, some 2016 games look better than it. But, you know, it's not supposed to be like, remember what I told you, it's not supposed to be like, wow, these graphics are amazing. It's not supposed to be like Uncharted 4, it's supposed to be like Dark Souls. You know, that's the point. It's supposed to be like Dark Souls. Like the Dark Souls games. Just imagine Dark Souls 3 looking like Uncharted 4. That wouldn't make any sense. Why would that not make any sense, you're asking? Probably because the game isn't made for Uncharted 4 graphics. It's made perfectly already. Why would it need Uncharted 4 graphics if, you know, it already looks stellar? You know? But, like, seriously, this game, it just looks awesome. I have a lot more to say, so I'm just gonna say it right now. I love the fact that in Dark Souls 3, that it goes from looking okay to a little bit better. Then you might think that the swamp looks bad, disgusting. I'd say that's the point. It's a swamp, come on. It's a swamp, that's the point. The giant crabs, they're like, you know, they're disgusting, that's the point. You know? Like, there's a point to everything in this game. Every single visual thing, there's a point to it. You know? Like, they really, hands down, made this the best looking Dark Souls game. Well, not really, not the best graphics, but the best looking. The most beautiful. Dark Souls 2 has the best. In Dark Souls, not Soulsborne. In Dark Souls 2 has the best graphics overall. Dark Souls 3, it just looks better for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah. That is why I love the visuals in Dark Souls 3. Sound design. I absolutely love the sound design for Dark Souls 3. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this. Number one, I just love, like, if you hit your sword against some a stone object, it makes a little tink sound, which, trust me, I've done this before. It sounds nearly exactly like if you get a steel object and then hit it against a brick object. You know? And even like the visuals, like little sparks fly. That's cool, but this is the sound design thing. By the way, if you don't know what sound design is, I'm not saying you're stupid, but if you just don't know what it is, it's basically the music or the sound effects. That's basically all it is. So yeah, and also, if you hit something wooden, most games would still have the little tink sound. Well, not most games. Some games would still have the little like tink sound that you have when you're hitting metal. Sorry, not metal. When you're hitting a brick thing with your weapon. But no, not with this game, because it sounds like you are hitting your weapon against wood. I mean, sure, it sounds like it's pretty weak wood, but I mean, still, they're wooden boards that you're usually hitting. You're not hitting trees most of the time. So yeah, that is one of the reasons why I love the sound design in Dark Souls 3. But now let's get to the music part of it. I love the music in Dark Souls 3. Let's talk about what I think my second favorite thing, like song in, not song, music in Dark Souls 3, which is the Abyss Watchers music. It's amazing. I absolutely adore the Abyss Watchers music. Now, if you're wondering why, it's because the psychological thing that music does, kind of, you know? Like, the thing about music is that it can make you think different things just by listening to it. For example, if I hear, like, I don't know, Super Mario Galaxy music, I'm thinking, oh, I got a star, I'm happy right now. But the Abyss Watchers music, it kind of sounds like it sounds awesome, but a little, just a tiny bit condescending, like, you're not going to be able to beat this boss. Like, you are never going to be able to beat this boss. It's never, ever. So then, that makes you either try harder, it depends on who you are, it'll either make you try harder, or it'll get to you. And it got to me. I ranked the game so low on my Souls list because of the Abyss Watchers. I thought, trash, worst boss ever, but they're actually one of the best bosses of all time in any video game. But that was the first phase's music. The second phase's music is just amazing, because the first one sounded condescending. This one sounds like, it depends on like what mood I'm in, really. Sometimes it's even worse. It's like super condescending, like you're not gonna be able to beat this. Most of the time, it's like, you got this. Like, it sounds so amazing. It's almost as if the game is telling me, come on, you can do this. You're so close. And I really love the fact that they, just decided to do something like that. I'm pretty sure they did it on purpose, but if they didn't, well then, all my rambling was for nothing. Just kidding. But another boss's music that I love, the best music in the game, in my opinion, which is the best opinion, it is really Lothric and Lorien, the Twin Princes' music. Their music is just amazing. Like, you know how the Abyss Watchers was a little bit condescending? This is very, very condescending. It's like, the tone is so condescending that it took me as much tries to beat them as the Abyss Watchers. That's not true. It took me 2 times longer. It took me months to beat the Abyss Watchers, while it only took me like an hour to beat Lothric and Lorien. But still, those attempts were spanned out quite a bit. But it doesn't matter. The point is that it makes you feel you can't do this, boss. It's impossible. No, you can't. You can't do it. But once the second phase rolls around, it goes from being kinda awesome, mostly condescending, to completely out of control. Like, not in a bad way. Very, very good way. At least this is what I think of it. If you guys think anything different, put it in the comments below. But please, come on. You have to admit, it's not way different, it's different from what they normally do. From Software and their music making. But the second phase is just, it goes from being, you know, normal, not like normal, but like super condescending, to crazy, and it's awesome. I love it. It's kind of like how Osiris does you, but with his gameplay and not his music. So yeah, that is, actually I lied. Third favorite music is Abyss Watcher. Second favorite is Lothric and Lorien. First favorite, Lord of Cinder. That is the best music in all of Souls. In all of Souls. I don't care. Majula, Ghost Like a Big Fat Cock, whatever your other name is that I can't remember. The Dream, Hunter's Dream. Yeah, you join them. Now, this music is amazing. Just let me tell you this outright. Because it goes from, you know, like, already really good music. Like, it makes you go like, this fight's so easy. At least that's what it makes me think of it. Like, oh my goodness, this fight, it's just so easy, you know, not that difficult at all. Which is really what From Software wanted you to think, right? They wanted you to think, okay, I can do this boss, I can do it, final boss, I've got this. Even though that wasn't my final boss. Ancient Wyvern and Nameless King were my final bosses, but that's not the point. Point is that, you know, it goes from that to when you kill him, he comes back to life, and then, you know, similar music, kind of similar, and I was like, they really didn't do new music for the second phase. Then shortly, you hear a little bit of Gwyn's piano, because he has the moves of Gwyn now, and it's super awesome, super badass. And the thing is with it is just that it makes you think, what? It's Gwyn? And then you see him do the kick that he does and the grab that he does, and you're like, yep, that's Gwyn. But it's like Gwyn, but if it was remixed into another song, because sure, his moves are similar to Gwyn, but he has so many other moves, you know, like a lot of other moves that he can do. Like, it's a little bit insane, really, but, you know, that's not the point of this video, to gush about bosses. It'll be for boss ranking, which I might make soon, depends. So yeah. Also, Nameless King, shoutouts to my bro for having some really good music, perfectly fits the boss fight. But yeah, that is why I love the sound design for Dark Souls 3. Bosses. This is really the reason why, like, sure, there's a lot of, like, a ton of reasons why Dark Souls 3 is one of the best games of all time. But the main reason why it's so good is because of all of the bosses. And, well, it's just amazing. I'm talking, like, super amazing. Like, just how many bosses they were able to put into one game and have most of them be good. Sure, there are a few bad ones. None of them are really bad. Some of them are just really meh, you know? But all of them are good designed bosses. Now, I'm going to be talking about two really good designed bosses, which is why this game is amazing. The first one I'm going to be talking about, which I've made clear has the best music, is Lord of Cinder, whatever it's called. It's Soul of Cinder, dang it. Okay, so Soul of Cinder, his music is good. Do you know what's also good? His design. Sure, he's a little bit easy, but it feels amazing to beat him because he can do so much stuff. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure he did every single move that he could have done on my attempt where I beat him, which was my first attempt, which just proves that he wasn't that difficult. But that doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that he's a well-designed boss, and he is even though he can do all of these really, really great things, all of these amazing things, he's still not overly difficult, which you might be thinking, that's not good design. Yeah, it is. Why is that good design, you might be asking me? Well, I'm glad you asked. There's stuff in video games called RNG, random number generator. And the reason why he should be the most difficult boss is because of all those moves he can do. It's random, and some of those moves are nearly impossible to dodge, and they do a lot of damage. Some moves don't do like a lot of damage, but they all do something to you, no matter what, just like all bosses. But yeah, they made it, at least I don't know this, I'm pretty sure they made it for where he does easier attacks, then more difficult attacks once you start getting into the boss fight, which I think is really, really cool. And yeah, it's just really, really cool that they were able to make such a well-designed boss, have all these amazingly cool moves. And his second phase, he loses most of his moves, but he gains a lot of moves back. Not he gains a lot of moves back, he gains a lot of different moves. I don't think he has a move that is the same as in phase 1 that it is in phase 2. I'm pretty sure every single move is different throughout the two phases. No move is the same. So in that phase, he can do way more damage, but it's way less RNG heavy, so it makes it a good and well-designed boss fight, which in my opinion is the reason why I play Souls, because it's fair and well-designed, and that's why I really don't like Dark Souls 1. It's a wee bit unfair, and sure, it's well-designed, but not as well-designed as the other games. It shows its age, is what I'm trying to say. Dark Souls 3 will probably never age a bit. Sure, maybe the graphics will age. Probably not, but maybe they will, but you know, that they're just really, really good. So yeah, so Lord of Cinder is a well-designed boss. I was getting off topic. I love doing that. I love reading my scripts and then getting off topic without reading them, and it gets annoying. That's not the point. Lord of Cinder, Soul of Cinder, is a really good and well-designed boss. But the most well-designed boss in all of Souls, and in my opinion, not the most difficult, one of the most difficult bosses in all of Souls, the Nameless King. He is an absolute beast. His first phase, not a really big fan of the first phase. Let's just get into the first phase already. So the first phase is a dragon, but the camera, I recommend not locking on, but still, the camera is probably what'll age Dark Souls 3. The camera isn't the best. Well, at least for big, super huge bosses that you don't want to lock onto, like Yorm or the Nameless King first phase, which I'm pretty sure is called King of Storms. So yeah, that's his first phase. He can do a lot of attacks, but all of them are really hard to dodge because he can't see what you're doing. You might be thinking, you are literally critiquing the boss, but you're saying it has the best design. Yeah, I know. Now sure, first phase might be a total flop, like a wah-wah, but the second phase is the reason why not only he is so challenging, but why he's so fun and well designed. First of all, don't you think it's kind of unfair that he controls the weather and the wind? Come on, make up your mind. You can control lightning and the wind and probably the weather, when it rains and lightning. Come on, hogging the power pool a little bit, jeez. But seriously, he can do so many attacks in the first phase. It's unreal. I'm at second phase. No, not first phase. Second phase. Sorry. But what he's most likely gonna do is he's gonna do a cloud attack because he's far away from you, and he's not a bad design boss, so he knows what he has to do. But he might dash over to you. But this is why this dude is so well designed. He slows down his attacks, just like Smelter Demon, but instead of them being super easy to dodge, now they're really difficult to dodge because you have to time your rolling just right. Otherwise, nope, sorry buddy, did we say you're gonna survive? We take that back. So yeah, he delays his attacks, not by a lot, but just enough for you to roll, roll out of the way, and then, bam. I hit something hard on accident. Is it broken? I don't care. That's not the point. The point is that he delays his attacks and stuff, but he also controls the lightning, and he can use it to his advantage during the fight, kind of like Soul of Cinder. But he actually knows when to use it. And not only that, it spears lightning. That is kinda cool. But this is these are the two little things that make him so well designed. One, AoE. But only if, at least I'm pretty sure this is the case, only if you are able to knock him down. But what I mean by knock him down is stagger him. Then there's a possible chance he can do an AoE, which does massive damage, but it's your fault if you get hit. Not the game's fault, it's your fault because you weren't paying attention to what was happening around you. So yeah, that is why this game's bosses are so well designed. Fan service. You might be thinking to yourself, you can't be serious, like, really? Fan service? Making a game better? Yeah, I'm serious, and you're dumb if you think that you're wrong. Think that I'm wrong. Yeah. Now, the reason why you are wrong is because they are not doing that to shoehorn more stuff into the game. They are doing that for fans to be more happy. Sure, you might be thinking, well, that's just a dumb way to do it. Well, you might be a little bit right. I just want you to listen to this clip really quick. Bro, they actually put Anor Londo in Dark Souls 3. Bro, this is gonna be really difficult, though. Anor Londo is difficult in the normal thing, but Bro, I cannot believe they put Anor Londo in this game. I'm actually... You can't hear it by my voice, but I'm actually going crazy right now. And there's a difficult dude in the way. Uh-oh. So yeah, that's really all you need to know. Fan service really makes fans happy. That's why it's called fan service. So really... But this game is like a game where a new player could have a really good time, and an old player has an even better time. Because if... Like, I've played Dark Souls 1, so I know all the little thingies. I haven't completed Dark Souls 1. I've gotten pretty far through the game, though. I'm not doing any boss rankings or any tips and tricks things for that game, though. I'm done with that game for a while. But that's not the point. The point is Dark Souls 3. The thing about Dark Souls 3 is just that, the fan service in the game is awesome, There's so many good things about it. I am not going to be showing the fan service. Here's a random boss fight. Okay, there you go, random boss fight. While I'm talking over. Okay, so fan service like the giant in Anor Londo. He used to be a blacksmith, but now he's dead. Andre, who is another blacksmith who should not outlive a giant, but is still alive and kicking for some reason. Why is he still alive? That's not the point. There is also Gwyn, a Gwyn reference in Soul Cinder boss fight. I really love that reference in particular because it is, in my opinion, really the pinnacle of Dark Souls 3. Where it just shows how good Dark Souls 3 is. Because that boss fight is already really, really good. Like, it's one of the best boss fights of all time. It's kind of weird. I love every single final boss in a Dark Souls game. Like, it's just amazing. Except for Nishandra. But here's the thing. It is just wonderful how much fan service is in Dark Souls 3. It's incredible. I love it. Like, for example, the Storm Ruler in Yorm's fight. It's cool. I like the Storm Ruler in Yorm's fight because that's really the only way to kill him. And it's a really cool way for you to be able to like check your surroundings and stuff, for you to make sure that you aren't missing anything that you need to be able to beat a boss fight. And there's also another thing about it. Fan service. The thing is, about fan service, even if somebody hasn't played the game, they'll still, like, even if somebody's only heard about the games, they'll still enjoy the fact that they put it in there. Like, if somebody's never went to Anor Londo in Dark Souls, like in Dark Souls 1, but they've heard about it in Dark Souls 1, then they saw it in Dark Souls 3, I'd feel like they wouldn't just, like, glance over them and be like, oh, look, just a new area. They'd know what Anor Londo is. They'd love the fact that they would put it there. You know, all that good stuff. By the way, I'm not saying all of the references, like, for the other games, because that would just be too much. They reuse a lot of weapons, but they rename them. And there's a bunch of different boss armors that are very similar. By very similar, I mean the exact same for bosses. Like, for example, there is, you know, Smo's, Ornstein's. Then we've got, really, I can't remember. But we've also got some really cool things. Like, you know, fan service is just really cool. I don't have that much more to say about it. Just, I really like how they put fan service in Dark Souls 3. Level design. These are some of the most finely crafted levels I've ever experienced in my whole entire life. Definitely the second best levels in any game of all time. Only beaten by Bloodborne, because is Bloodborne, but come on, Dark Souls 3, second place. That's some really good stuff. Now, if people think that Dark Souls 3's levels can compete with Bloodborne levels, then you know Dark Souls 3 has some pretty good levels. Like, seriously, come on, we all know that they're good. Everybody knows that they're good. You know, like, that's not the point, though. The point is just how finely crafted they are. And everything runs so smoothly through where you go. It makes sense you go from one place to the other to the next, and it makes sense that those areas would be the ones after the other area. It makes literal perfect sense about everything. Everything about it just makes perfect sense about where you go, where you came from. Everything about it just makes perfect sense. I know I'm saying that a lot, so I want to get the point across. And another thing about it is that there are two of my favorite levels in all of gaming are in Dark Souls 3. I'm only talking about my second favorite one. My first favorite one's kind of an unpopular choice. Okay, my second favorite level, Archdragon Peak. Now the thing about Archdragon, by the way, I lied. My favorite area is actually a very popular choice. I'm just not telling you until after I'm done talking about Archdragon Peak, by the way. Now, Archdragon Peak, it makes you feel dragons. Everything about it, dragons. You fight a dragon. You know? Even the boss arena for the Ancient Wyvern is good. And that's a boss arena, a mini area boss arena. I didn't think the Ancient Wyvern was too bad, personally. But in Archdragon Peak, it's kind of like it's obvious where you're going, but it's like you almost never make it there because you want to go exploring to find those items, you know, all that stuff. Like, even if you don't want it for the items, you want it for a good challenge, you know? The enemies in that area are really, really challenging, but it's fun to fight them. You know, like, it's extremely fun to fight those enemies, which in my opinion makes Archdragon Peak the second best level in all of Souls. But that's not the only thing about Archdragon Peak. Wait, first of all of Souls? Yeah, all of Souls, not Soulsborne, by the way. The second best level in all of Souls, Archdragon Peak, without a doubt. Because just everything about it, you know? It's just amazing. It breathes life. Like, sure, it might have less colors than some of the other areas, but I mean, come on. It's just amazing about what it has to offer in it, you know? My favorite area in all of Souls, probably my favorite level in all of gaming, Irithyll of the Boreal Valley. That level is amazing. Everything about it screams ice. And I like ice, so you know I'm gonna like this level. But here's the thing about Irithyll of the Boreal Valley. Not only is it fun to experience, the enemies are difficult. Especially for, like, after you fight deacons or something. Because you are not under-leveled for them. You can fight them pretty easily. But their attack patterns match perfectly with what the area is supposed to represent. Which in my opinion is really, really cool. You know, like, just think about it. They move so swiftly and gracefully, you know? Kind of like a skier, you know, like professional skiing. No, professional skiing and ice skating, you know? That kind of stuff that, like, wiggle around. Really not skiing, though, but some people do kind of wavy tricks. But ice skating, they look like they're on the ice skating around. And it looks absolutely beautiful. The enemies, like Dancer of the Boreal Valley, which used to live Irithyll of the Boreal Valley, moves just like the enemies in Irithyll of the Boreal Valley, which is like a dance. Which is really what a fight is kind of like, right? We're all moving. You move depending on how they move. You always move differently because they're always doing something different, you know? Like, they're always doing, like, I'm talking about the enemies right now, but that's what gets this area amazing. And the area looks really amazing too. I love the look of Irithyll of the Boreal Valley. It's one of the best looking areas I think I've ever looked at in my entire life. It looked like it's supposed to be kind of like a snowy level, and well, it shows. It's just so white, you know? The sky is clear, little thingies of snowflakes dropping down, you know, all of that good stuff. And Pontiff is a really good boss fight. Absolutely love that boss, and that makes it the best level ever. So yeah, that is why I love the levels of Dark Souls 3. Difficulty. Some people say that this game, it's easier than most Souls games. And I have to agree, sure, it's not as easy as Dark Souls 2, but it's definitely way easier than Dark Souls 1. Just, like, whoever says that this game is the hardest Souls game is just pranking. You're just trying to do a little prank, you know? Like, seriously. Nobody thinks that this game is harder than Dark Souls 1. But this game still is very, very difficult with the bosses. They are some of the most difficult, yet still well-designed bosses in all of Souls. Like, that's the reason why the game gets the difficulty from the bosses. But this game is still very difficult, so it can still hold the Souls name and wear it proud. And the quality of the game is still good, so yeah, I can definitely hold the name of Dark Souls proud, like, seriously. But the thing about it, I thought it was a little easy. Not a lot easy, not very, very easy, just a lot easier than what I expected, you know? I thought I'd get dead over and over like 200 times. I don't even think I died 200 times. I don't think I was even close to dying 200 times, actually. Like, Dark Souls 2 killed me maybe 300 times. Sure, that was my first Souls game, but still, that has to have some meaning to it, right? Dark Souls 3 was my third Souls game I completed, fourth Soulsborne game I completed. You know? Technically, it was my last one, so of course I knew a lot about Souls, but still. But this game is still really, really difficult. If somebody tells you the game is very easy, then they're just trying to, because they just think that they're super awesome. Oh, wow, look at me, I'm so awesome. If, you know, they're doing that. But no, really, this game is extremely challenging, especially for a first-timer. I'd recommend Dark Souls 2 for a Souls game. Like, for a first-timer, I'd recommend Dark Souls 2. In my personal opinion. Or Sekiro, you know? But seriously, the games are really, really challenging. Dark Souls 3 is no different. It is still extremely challenging, you know? A lot of things about it are more challenging than Dark Souls 1, but a lot of things about Dark Souls 1 are more challenging than Dark Souls 3. So here's the thing. It has everything difficult about the games except for the skeletons. Skeletons in Dark Souls 3 are actually really easy to take care of. And in Dark Souls 2. So, they blend in everything, you know, hard about the games. Not everything, but everything that was hard about the games, make it a little bit easier, and then get everything that was easier about the games and make it a little bit harder. And then it makes sort of a mixed package of easy and difficult. The first half of the game is extremely difficult. Very, very difficult for first-timers. Once you get into it, it's not so bad. The second half is a lot more manageable. I have to say that right now. Like, it's seriously, like, not as difficult as the first half. Like, I'd say, and no, I'm not joking around, I'd literally say this to anybody asking me the question. Hey, what do you think it would be more difficult fighting, you know, like, let's just say a boss like Osiris versus a boss like whatever the dog thing is called, the second boss, Vord of the Boreal Valley. Which one is harder? I'd say Vord of the Boreal Valley, because that dude is actually really challenging. So yeah, that is why I love the difficulty. Well, not really love, but that is why Dark Souls 3 is very difficult. Rating. This game is a really, really good game. I'd consider it a masterpiece, without a doubt. This is definitely one of the best games I've ever played. Like, everything about it is just Dark Souls, you know? This game is definitely the best Dark Souls game. Not the best Soulsborne game. It might be, actually. I really don't know what to think right now. But this game is really, really good. I think anything above a 9.5 is a masterpiece. And I think this game is a little bit more than that, but we'll get to that Now, I love this game very much. I've told you pretty much all the reasons why I love this game to death. This game is one of the best games you will ever experience. One of the best games you will ever experience for last decade, because this decade is a whole new decade. Woohoo, so excited. I'm a little bit late to that. But seriously, this game is definitely one of the best games of the last decade. And I hope when Elden Ring comes out, it'll be even better than this game. Because if it is, then I know it'll be the best Soulsborne game. Because this game is really, really amazing. Everything about it is just very, very Souls-like. It's a Dark Souls game, so a Dark Souls game doesn't really have to be Souls-like, though, if you think about it. If you really think about it. Yeah, I'm probably wrong. This game is absolutely amazing, though. Remember when I said that, how 9.5, I consider that to be a masterpiece? I give this 9.9 out of 10. The only reason why I don't rate it 10 out of 10 is because of the tiny hitbox and camera issues that sometimes happens during the game. But yeah, I gave it a 9.9 out of 10.